welcome back to Book and Prejudice. My name is Mar, and for today's video I am bringing you my March wrap-up / April TBR. Now before we get started, I am at my parents' house, so I don't have the books that I read with me here, but I will be popping them in the screen as I speak about them. Also, I did cut my hair. Not quite sure how to style it yet, so please forgive it for doing whatever it is that it thinks it's doing. But yeah, let's get going with the video. My month of March reading wise wasn't the best. I was in a bit of a slump, and it wasn't even a slump, it was more so I just really felt like watching TV and just cuddling on the couch and not really using my brain, which sometimes happens. It's annoying because I had gone on this really good strike while reading in February, and in January I had read like so many books, but life happens, things happen, so you know, c'est la vie. But yeah, I'm gonna talk a bit about the books that I read, and then I'm gonna talk about my April TBR because it's a special one this time. So yes, books. That's what this channel's about after all. The first book that I read is Where the Lost Wander, and I gave this book 4 stars, although I would give it more so like 3.5. And I really liked it, I really did. I thought it was a great book. It was a book club book for February that got pushed back a week and then got pushed back by me only another week. And I thought it was great. I thought it was a very romantic story. The first half of it is a bit long and drolly because it's just them talking about I got on my wagon and I traveled, and then I got off my wagon, and then I slept, and then I got on my wagon, and then I traveled a bit more. So that wasn't the most interesting thing to read, if I'm really honest. But then the second half, it just got really sad and really pretty, and it was really nice. The book itself is really sad. I think that my friend Celia had a really good idea by choosing it, but also she has a really bad tendency of choosing very depressing books. So there's that for her to deal with. But it was a really nice book. I really enjoyed it. It was a very pleasant read. At some points it should come with a trigger warning, but I thought that overall it was great. I couldn't participate in the discussions as much as I would have personally liked because I didn't finish it in time. But oh well, what can I do? It was very nice. I think as well, the thing that I liked the most about this book, that the author did really well, was that everything was explained, and all of the images and all of the descriptions were so beautifully done. That's like the one note that I had from the beginning. I was like, everything is just so vivid. You can just picture it yourself, and that is something that's very hard to accomplish with books, especially books about traveling. It's very hard for you to imagine how the travel goes. It's very hard for you to picture where you are and the location and everything. So it was really, really, really well written, and I think that really showed, and that was what got me going the first half of the book when I thought that it wasn't as interesting. It was the fact that the description of the places was so gorgeous. I just wanted to read more of it because she just used adjectives, and like the way she structured her sentences and her paragraphs and her chapters were so beautifully done that it just flew like a nice little river. It was just stunning. So I really liked that book. Not one of my favorites, but really good regardless. Just very sad. It was just very sad. And then the second book that I read was a book club book for March, because we had to do the March one. And that was 3 Dark Queens by Kendara Blake, I believe. And that book was something. It felt very much like a prologue. It felt like, you know, she was just talking about she was just setting up for the next book, and that was a bit frustrating because I wish she would have concluded this story, but then it makes sense that she didn't, because I know that she's written 3 more books that I do plan on reading at some point. But I really liked the book as well. I gave it 4 stars. I thought it was stunning, really, really nicely done, and I also felt that she was so good at explaining how the complexities of each character, because it's in 3 perspectives, so it has multiple perspectives, that it follows the 3 sisters, and the story goes that only one of they're raised from the beginning to kill each other. They're raised separately, and the way it works is that at the end, two of them will be killed and one will survive. And it is kind of the story of them coming to terms with the fact that they have to kill their sister, coming to terms with the fact that they have to be powerful, and their struggles and their fears of not being up to standard to what they think they have to be, only to realize that by the end of it, what I got as a conclusion was standards are just there, and it is up to you to choose to whether you want to go for them, whether you want to follow them or not. And because we had that multiple perspective idea, it was very easy to see what would happen if you chose to follow standards, if you chose to go against the grain. It was very nice. So I really enjoyed the whole book as itself. The only problem was that, like, by the time it got to the end, not only was the end not what I wanted it to be, because that's the next book, it also ended in a cliffhanger. So I'm just very stressed now. I'm not gonna read it this month, but I do want to read the other 3 soon-ish, because they were so good. They were just very fun, and also great book club book because they had all of those perspectives. It was great for discussing, and everyone had their favorite. My personal favorite, I will say this now, is Catherine, but I was on my own on that one, I think. I hated Arsinoe, disliked her profoundly, and I hated Mirabella. Frankly, I hated the 2 sisters, and I just really like Catherine. Also, it's important to say that the secondary characters also have a very strong role in the book, and I love seeing that, because sometimes it's really easy to write off secondary characters as sort of just there to help the main character, but rather in this book, the way it was structured, it was that they had their own issues aside from the main character, and they had to learn to balance them. And it was really interesting to have them with their own complex storylines. Even though they were not the focus of the book, they were still very much a necessity for the story to flow, and I really liked seeing that. So yeah, those are the 2 books that I read. I didn't read anything else, if I'm really honest. I didn't want to. So let me talk about the books that I'm going to read in April, because this month I'm finally reading the books that my boyfriend recommends to me, because he's been recommending me books for 4 years now, and I read most of them, but in the last few months I've been really bad at listening to him. So I thought that, I'm gonna listen to him, I'm gonna go for it, and then if I don't like them, then I don't like them. So let's go with what he has chosen for me. Well, first of all, The Secret History. I'm a bit less than halfway through, so I read this much. I'm on page 242. I am loving this book. I'm not going to talk about it now, but this book was meant to be for me. So definitely love it. Definitely I'm enjoying this. I hope to be done with it by the end of the week. But now on to Gregory's recommendation. Let's see what he has chosen for me, shall we? Sally Rooney's Conversation with Friends. He loves Sally Rooney. He loved Normal People. He really liked this as well. I've already been told that I'm not gonna like it, but I have to read it regardless so that we can talk about it. I didn't like Normal People. I made a whole video about this, but I still think that it was a great new way of writing, and I'm excited to read this, if only so that I can say didn't like it. So yeah, Sally Rooney, Conversations with Friends. This book is about 2 friends and their relationship. Everything that Sally Rooney does is just 2 people in their relationship. That's what Normal People was about. Next up is Robert Harris's Fatherland. There's a TV show that's similar to this premise. I don't know if there's like anything recorded for it, but it was very good. It is about what would happen if Hitler was alive. No, I mean not Hitler being alive. Just the premise. I like books that take history and make it their own. I find that very interesting. So I'm very, very curious to read this book. He's a really big fan of Robert Harris. I think, yeah, there's a second book by Robert Harris here. So I'm looking forward to reading this, if only so that I can understand what it is all about. And I actually think that this is not even his book. I'm pretty sure this is his father's book, so I should probably read that soon-ish as well. Another book that I might read this month is The Second Sleep by Robert Harris. This one is about, I have no idea, but another book that he's recommended. He read this one, I believe beginning of 2021 or end of 2020. And he really loved it. He really liked it. So if anything, I'm just excited to read it so that I can kind of bond with him over it, because that's always nice to talk to your boyfriend about things that he likes. Can't talk about me apparently. Next is 1,000 Ships by Natalie Haynes, which is the story of Achilles and the Trojan War, I believe, from an all-female perspective. He read this, he liked it a lot, and he has said a few times that I'm really gonna like it, because first of all, I love books in which only women get to speak. It makes me happy to feel like I can actually see myself represented, so go her. But also because he knows how much I like Circe by Madeline Miller, and he was convinced that this book was by her for a long time. It wasn't. It just has like here, like Madeline Miller says that it's very good, blah 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 blah. But it also, like, he knows how much I like Greek mythology. I've been going through a huge Greek mythology, not like ran, because I haven't done it, but like I've consistently read mythology books for as long as I can remember. So he knows I like it, and he said that I would really like it. So 1,000 Ships by Natalie Haynes. And lastly, for physical books, Where the Crawdads Sing by Delia Owens. And I am fully aware that this book was very popular in like summer of 2019 or 2020. Those 2 years are just messed up together for me at the moment. But apparently it's very good. He loved this. He's absolutely convinced that I'm gonna cry. So I'm gonna read this one right after I finish The Secret History, because I'm very curious to see how it is and how it goes. I think that it's gonna be very beautiful. I really do think. He's got really good taste in books in general. We just don't like the same style of books. I really like fantasy, he likes science fiction. But when it comes to like contemporary non-fiction that doesn't involve, you know, magic or aliens, we're very much aligned. So I think that every single book that he's chosen is going to be great. I really do. And I think that he's chosen some more for when I come back from my lockdown, because I'm gonna be for 10 days with him at his parents' home. And during those 10 days, I think he's chosen more books for me. So I'm very excited to read those. And I'm also listening to this day to my audiobook for Mythos by Stephen Fry. Still loving it. I just only listen to it when I go on my runs. So obviously I don't listen to it consistently, therefore I can't really finish it quickly. Yeah, that's all for today's video. As I said, it's gonna be quite short just because I didn't read anything on March. So there's that. But I did want to talk about the book recommendations that my boyfriend chose for me, because I'm very excited about those, because it's exciting. It's nice. I like it when he takes my recommendations in seriously. So it's always nice, I think, to reciprocate the feeling. And he's got really good taste, let's not lie. No, but literally, he's got very good taste. He's an English literature teacher, so he's got to be good with books. So yeah, April, I'm hoping, will be a bit easier. It starts today. Today's the 1st of April. So, boom, let's go. I don't know what that was. Anyways, I hope you guys liked this video. If you did, subscribe to my channel. I try to post once a week. And if you want to see more consistent content, please go to my Instagram at Book and Prejudice, where I try to post a bit more regularly. Not always, but I do try. And have a lovely week, and I will see you next time. Bye!